We saw 8 presidential contenders last night speaking. Based on what you saw last night and maybe what you didn't see, what do you think is the future of the GOP?
Unknown. I mean, you have the Mike Pence school, and even Asa Hutchinson and others that come from more classic conservative, Republican model. You have those who have run in blue states, like former Governor Christie, who made a big point. It's a good point, by the way, that you have to have a message that appeals to a broader audience. You have Ramaswamy, who is a whirling dervish of all sorts of stuff, right? It's auditioning to be, Trump Jr., and there is an audience for that. But in terms of where the party's headed, I think the mainstream Republicans would hope it's headed more in the direction of someone like a Nikki Haley in terms of her message, her maturity, and her conservatism than it is some of the others that were on stage that night.
And looking forward, looking ahead, we have another debate in a month. What should we look out for between now and then?
You learn a lot from your first debate. And, the governor of Florida has debated before, in his campaigns for governor. This was his first presidential debate. He had the Uber, debate coach apparently in play. I think he's going to learn a lot about what to do and not to do. As others will on stage, you'll see different kinds of performances. And I think maybe instead of Ramaswamy being the target of most of the other contenders on stage, you'll find someone like Nikki Haley who's going to be right in the middle of that target. There are things I'm sure she has to answer for, and those were not brought out last night. They will be, I think, in the next debate. And I think right now it's a race for second, with the idea that if the former president, Donald Trump, suddenly meets his political maker and comes hurling down to earth, who might be the one who could suddenly surge? That's not something any of them control that are on stage or are contending for the presidency. They're keeping their fingers crossed that if that does happen, they're in position to make the move. And I think that's what we're looking for. Others more cryptic, others more cynical would say this is nothing more than a race for vice president and cabinet post at this point.
How precarious do you think Ron DeSantis' spot as number 2 is? Do you think he could fall at any moment, or do you think he has a safe number 2 spot?
Well, he's got infrastructure that he's built. That's one thing that money affords. And he's been investing in that on the ground, especially in Iowa. It's no surprise that you were out there recently. I mean, Iowa is going to be ground zero for this fight. The first verdict will come out of Iowa. They're making a big push there. And unlike how you say, well, we didn't do so well there, but our plan all along was to win in New Hampshire. Well, we didn't do well there either. Hey, our firewall is in South Carolina, whatever it is. Iowa, for the governor of Florida, is the first proving pad that he is a legitimate number 2. And I know for a fact he's going to put everything he can into that. He's got competition there. I think Tim Scott also has shown some real political leg of late there, which, especially with evangelicals, it gives him a shot to be maybe a real contender, which even if he didn't win, Brittany, he came in a close second, that might be considered a victory for him and catapult him into New Hampshire. But I think the governor of Florida has to begin to show that he is legitimately the alternative to the former president, beginning in Iowa City.
Adam Goodman, I appreciate your insights. Thanks for joining me.